So you learned how to play your C and A minor scale in the last video. In this video, I want you to practice it a little bit differently. As you can see, this is way more interesting than a traditional C scale. You can hear the colors and nuances of the key signature. It sounds much more musical. Let's break this down a bit. Your right hand is going to play the C scale repeatedly as your left hand descends in octaves. Before I hit the new scale, I'm going down to B. Before I hit the new scale, I'm going down to A. Go to G. Now we're on F. To E. D. Back home at C. On the chord. Give it a nice little roll. Now that you've heard C major, let's contrast that to A minor. This one's going to sound much darker. So as you can see, C major sounds completely different than A minor. You couldn't really hear it that well on the traditional scales, but with the octave scales, you can hear it right away. C major sounds bright and cheerful and happy. A minor sounds intense and dramatic. There are so many different ways to practice this exercise. This is just one way to do it, but you can switch up the rhythm, the groove, you can break up the scale into smaller parts. The reason why I have my students practice this scale after they learn their traditional scales is because I want you guys to still get the muscle memory of the tucking and crossing motion that happens, but octave scales is targeting something different. I want you to be able to hear the full spectrum of the color and the emotion that you're trying to convey. So as your right hand is playing the scale, your left hand is descending in octaves. As your bass note is changing, you're able to hear everything that that key signature has to offer. I designed this exercise for my students in order to spark creativity. I don't want my students practicing their scales in one way only, because that would be doing a huge disservice to your musicality and your growth. I wish someone had showed me these exercises when I was first starting out on piano, because this is the beginning to all improvisation. Let's go over some variations of this exercise. If you were to do this in the key of G major, we have an F sharp in the key of G, so you have to honor that on both hands. Your G scale has that F sharp. So when you do that in your left hand, you have to honor that as well. Here's G major in octave scales. With a little rhythm. So let's try this in the key of E minor, which is the relative of G major. They both share that F sharp. But this time, I'm going to switch it up.
The whole point is to improvise and express yourself, try different things. So maybe just go up for a little while, or just go down for a little while. And suddenly, you're writing a movie soundtrack. If you're always practicing your scales the same way, you're not going to feel compelled to try new things and create. And that's the point. I want you to sit down at the piano and feel free. Express yourself. This is the art of piano.
Go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Let me know how things are going in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.